I spent 9 months building that little cedar house by hand, and my father dismissed it with 2 fingers. The brass key skipped across my white quartz island and stopped beside someone's half-finished wine glass. For one suspended second, nobody said a word. Then my mother laughed, soft and sharp, just enough for the room to join her. The housewarming was at my new place. Open kitchen, oversized island, living room glowing behind it, because my mother had insisted dim light made a home look cheap. About 20 people had come, my father's law partners, their polished wives, 2 old neighbors, the kind of guests who cradle a stemmed glass and inspect your life as if they're checking for flaws in the finish. My cedar house sat in the middle of the island, 18 inches long, with black shutters, a tiny porch, and a front door that opened if you turned the little brass key. Beneath the floor panel was the real gift. Nobody looked long enough to find it. My mother tapped one manicured nail against the roof. "Well," she said, "it's certainly homemade." A woman by the sink smiled into her Chardonnay. "That's thoughtful." My father picked up the key, glanced at it once, then dropped it back down. "Honestly, Nora," he said, using my name the way he had when I was a child in trouble, "where exactly would we put this?" I was still holding the empty gift bag. There was sawdust caught under one thumbnail from sanding the base that morning. If you have ever stood in a room and felt humiliation turn theatrical, you know how silence can suddenly feel like applause. I bent down, picked up the key, and said, "You're right." My mother exhaled like I had finally followed the script. A woman near the sink asked what I did at the firm. Before I could answer, my father smiled into the room and said, "Nora handles records for us. She's basically our file clerk." Basically, I had spent 11 years in the basement of Bellamy and Shaw, knowing every archive box, every probate filing, every trust amendment no one else could find when panic hit. My badge said records clerk. My father said it often enough that the title had hardened around me like plaster. My mother glanced at the cedar house again and wrinkled her nose. "Darling, this gift is trash. You should have brought wine." The laughter came then, light and effortless. I looked down at the little key in my palm and, for the first time, noticed something stranger than the insult. Neither of them had recognized the porch. I had copied it from the original plans to my grandfather's house. That night, after everyone left, my kitchen still smelled like roasted garlic and expensive perfume. Lipstick marked one abandoned glass. Crumbs glittered across the counter. The cedar house sat crookedly where my mother had nudged it, like even it had been shamed. I opened the tiny front door, lifted the hidden floor panel, and found the number I had tucked inside. The file code from a sealed box in the basement archives. Before sunrise, I was in the office. The garage was half empty. My heels struck the stairwell too loudly, as if the building itself were warning me to turn back. But I kept going. The box was exactly where I had left it, 3rd shelf, back wall, private family holdings. My grandfather's handwriting crossed the label in dark ink. Inside were a brass key, a letter, and the original transfer papers for the Willow Street parcel. I read the first line once, then again. "Nora, if you are opening this, your parents finally humiliated the wrong daughter." I took the file to Martin Shaw, my father's partner, and the only man in that building old enough to remember my grandfather clearly. He read the deed, then the letter, then looked at me as if a wall had shifted. By 10 o'clock, my parents were in the conference room. My mother arrived irritated. My father arrived smiling. Both expressions died when Martin spread the papers across the table. The Willow Street land, my parents' house, the firm, half the parking structure, had never been legally transferred to my father. My grandfather had placed it in trust for the child who understood records in silence. The final amendment named me. There was one condition. If I was publicly diminished in connection with the family business or inheritance, ownership reverted immediately. My father turned gray. My mother tried first. "Nora, sweetheart, nobody meant—" "No," I said. "You meant every word. You never thought witnesses would matter." The partners who had laughed at my kitchen island stared down. My father asked if I planned to ruin him. I understood then that he still believed the injury was mine to manage. I slid the reversion papers toward Martin and signed. That evening I placed the cedar house by my door, key inside, door closed. For years I thought I wanted my parents proud of me. What I wanted was simpler. I wanted my life back.